What is up, you guys? My name is Version1, and welcome back to Reaction Week Installment 13. This is episode 4. We're moving right along. Like I said, I don't know if I might be able to finish all these in one day. I might actually be able to get a lot of edited at the end of the night. That might help. If I can, I'll try and get them all edited throughout before the week even starts, and I can get a jump start on the next week. So I don't know. We'll figure out how I'm going to do it. Anyway, hopefully you guys are enjoying these so far, because I'm having a blast recording these. So this episode is going to be 5 scary Egyptian creatures caught on camera. We're just going to jump right into this because I want to see what gets caught. And right off the rip, it's got a flag, and there's the deal. And of course, this is from the finest. So I've done a reaction video to the finest before. So without further ado, here we go.
Egypt is one of the most incredible countries in the world, home to pyramids amongst many other incredible feats of architecture. But there's far more to Egypt than triangular buildings. It's also full of secrets, some of them terrifying and alive. From the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse to a ghost in a pharmacy, these are 5 scary Egyptian creatures caught on camera. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos every day. That being said, let's begin. Number 5. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. From the Sphinx to mummies to the monstrously demanding nightmares that are cats, Egypt is full of legendary creatures and myths, but none more so than the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Oh,
it
hell
may
yeah.
seem bonkers to say, but we might have actually stumbled upon genuine footage of the horsemen themselves. Amidst the uproar of Arab Spring during the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, there were mass protests in Tahrir Square. Thousands upon thousands of individuals marched the streets to fight against serious issues such as political corruption, a lack of political freedom, and police brutality. During the epic demonstration, an MSNBC camera was broadcasting live to the United States, and in doing so, might just have captured evidence of something even more remarkable than a revolt of the people. In the feed, you can see a mysterious yellow figure. It looks to be someone riding a horse. It's translucent and has a wavy quality to it. The entity glides along, then dissipates into thin air. There is very little that could draw attention away from the protests, but this did. When the footage aired, it caused quite a stir around the world. Viewers were at a loss to explain what was happening. Several theories started to spring up as viewers tried desperately to figure out what was going down. Just who was the mysterious yellow horse rider? Well, as you might have guessed from the fact I opened up this section of the video talking about the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, the most prominent of theories was that this figure was one of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Given the surrounding social upheaval that was taking place during the Arab Spring, many thought the figure was one of the harbingers of doom as prophesied in the last book of the New Testament. If I might quote the relevant passage, Revelation 6:8, I looked and behold an ashen horse, and he who sat on it had the name Death, and Hades was following him. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword and with famine and with pestilence and by the wild beasts of the earth. Could it be? Were the horsemen really among us? Not everybody was sold on the idea. Another theory suggests that rather than one of the horsemen, it could be the spirit of an ancient Egyptian warrior that was summoned by the violence and uproar of the protests. Some others thought that it was an angel sent to bring peace to the demonstrations, while others thought the opposite and believed the figure to be a demon arisen to cause anarchy on the streets of Cairo. As per usual, the skeptics also waded in with their interpretation. They felt that there was probably just a glitch in the camera, or maybe it was an overlapping of concurrent feeds. What do you think was going down that day? Mere technical fault, or was a biblical prophecy unfolding? Let us know. Now it's time for the star topic. When a subscriber to this channel sent us this photo, we couldn't quite believe it. Simply put, it seems to show a walking skeleton. Look, I don't know if you know this, but skeletons aren't supposed to be able to walk. So immediately this image rang alarm bells. The photo comes from a subscriber who was on a sightseeing holiday in Egypt. Of course, when we say sightseeing, they were hoping to see things like the pyramids. What they did not expect to see were monsters. He said that after getting lost in the desert all alone, he suddenly heard a peculiar scratching sound from the distance. Assuming that scratching sound would be the rest of his party, he headed toward the sound, hoping to be reunited with them. He wandered off, disappearing into the distance, hoping to finally find them. But instead, what he found was this. He said the odd skeletal figure was just standing there, not moving. As he looked around, there were no humans or animals anywhere to be seen. As the skeleton was stationary, propped upright, he didn't think for a moment that the skeleton could be responsible for the noise. But with no humans or animals around, who caused the odd scratching sound? But as you've already probably noticed, we said the skeleton was upright, so why in this photo is it hunched over? Now, that's the curious thing. As the man turned away from the skeleton, he heard the odd scratching sound again. When he turned back, the skeleton was in a new pose. This pose. Had it moved? Was that the sound? Had it been moving before? Quick as he could, the man set up his camera and waited. But no matter how long he waited, the skeleton never moved again. He even turned his back on the skeleton to see if it would work like the last time, but sadly, it did not. There was no scratching sound. The skeleton remained still. He began to wonder if he was losing his mind. He even considered that maybe the wind had knocked the skeleton over, but that made no sense. The scratching had sounded like a foot dragging across the sand, and he had heard it over and over before seeing the skeleton. What do you think was going on here? Comment down below with the hashtag star topic, and we might pick the comment that best explains what is being shown on this image. Let's move on to the next one.
If it,
Number 4.
actually has some.
Pharmacy Poltergeist. While our previous footage came from a rather extreme scenario, a scene full of civil unrest, our next comes from a somewhat humbler situation, an everyday pharmacy. But sometimes there can be monsters, in this case a ghost, in the most ordinary of situations. This CCTV footage was taken in late 2014 in a, as mentioned, Egyptian pharmacy. At around 3 in the morning, peculiar things begin to happen in the store. Take a look. The TVs flicker. A chair moves all on its own. And that's just the beginning of the strange poltergeist-like activity. The chair even rises up into the air before abruptly crashing back down to the ground. At one point, a strange powder even splatters onto the ground. From another camera, we then see some sort of strange liquid forming all on its own on the cabinet of the store. It's all incredibly strange and incredibly hard to explain. It's no surprise that most people who have seen this footage speculate it to be hard evidence of a poltergeist having his merry way with the store. What do you think?
Or it could be fake, who knows?
Genuine poltergeist or nothing but an elaborate hoax? Be sure to give us
the
your
chair's
opinions
moving
in the comment
so
section below.
as if there's a wire on it.
Faceless sea beasts.
Whoa!
When we think of Egypt, we tend to think of sand and pyramids. So when we think of monsters and creatures that surface there, we think of land-based creatures. But don't forget, Egypt neighbors both the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So, could water-based monsters surface in Egypt? If this horrifying photograph can be believed, it would seem so. Back in September of 2017, this curious creature washed up on the sands. To be honest, in all our research, we weren't able to get a good idea of where this photo came from. Was it the Red Sea or the Mediterranean? If you know, please do get in contact and let us know, as we would love to know more. Info on the photo seems to be minimal and tricky to come by. All we know is that it washed up onto the sands of Egypt and baffled the locals almost immediately. As you can see, it is huge, with colossal fangs to boot. All the more curious is its odd lack of face. When the photos went live, it whipped people into a frenzy, quick to call it a prehistoric dinosaur or even an alien from another planet. Some even speculated that it may be the beginning of a new devastating plague. But what do you guys think? Kenneth Tiggy, a biologist at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, had his own theories. Tiggy, who is a specialist in eels, commented on the photos suggesting it was most likely a fang-toothed snake eel, or Aplatophis chaleotis. But a lot of people simply do not accept that this is a known creature of any kind. It's simply too monstrous to look at. To this day, we still don't have a conclusive idea of what it is. Monster? Dinosaur? Dead god? If you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear them.
I don't know about that one.
Tiny alien thing.
What the hell is that?
I don't know how to describe it. This photo was taken on August 3rd, 2015. It seems to show a strange, long-limbed creature with 4 fingers, no thumbs, and bulbous black eyes. A lot of people, including experts, have tried to explain what this thing might be, but everybody is at an absolute loss. It almost looks like those tiny aliens from the first Men in Black film, but it also looks a little bit like a tiny goblin, or maybe a type of house elf from Harry Potter. Villagers claimed they were digging a well when they came by the animal deep in the ground. The man seen holding the creature in the photo said he had no idea what it was and was baffled when they unearthed the bizarre-looking critter. And wouldn't you be baffled as well? I know I would. Personally, I've never seen anything like this, and I've read more than 3 books about animals, so I really know stuff. When the picture was posted to Facebook, it got shared thousands of times, many quick to claim it's a subterranean alien from another planet. Another far darker theory was that it might be a malformed fetus of some kind, which is deeply sad and horrifying to think about. Others were far more dismissive of the photo, casting it off as nothing but an outright hoax. 4 years later, and people still don't have a solid explanation as to what this mysterious creature might be.
I don't know what the
Do you
hell
have
it
any
is.
thoughts? We'd love to hear them. Number 1. Another ghost.
Another
For another ghost. This rather interesting footage comes from an Egyptian hospital. In the clip, you can see a set of automatic doors at the entrance to one of the wings of the hospital. In the beginning, the doors open normally for a man entering the building, business as usual as it were. But then, a short while later, the doors begin to open and close all on their own. This happens several times, over and over. On the second time, a strangely distorted shape manifests behind the glass. Some people have described it as looking like 2 kneeling children. Others have described it as looking like a pile of bodies. There's almost a Rorschach test level interpretation going on with this thing. This clip has gone viral worldwide.
Yeah, but that was
Almost
a
everyone
reflection.
chipping in
That
with their
wasn't...
theories. Skeptics think it's nothing but a weird shadow, but others think this is a restless Egyptian spirit. What do you think is going on here? Be sure to comment below with your thoughts and feelings.
Well, no,
Which
it couldn't
of
be a
these
reflection
Egyptian
because...
creatures intrigues you the most? And would you still brave a visit to the country? Let us know.
Hold on, I want to see that again. Oops, I went too far.
Right, with almost everyone chipping in with their theories. Skeptics think it's nothing but a weird shadow, but others think this is a restless Egyptian spirit. What do you think is going on here? Egyptian
Alright, go back to this
In
guy.
the clip, you can see a set
Yeah,
of automatic
he's got-
doors at the entrance to
Okay,
one of
so
the
you
wings of the
can
hospital.
see
In the beginning, the doors open normally for a man entering the
It
building.
looks like it's
business
right
as
here.
usual, as it were. But then, a short while later, the doors begin to open and close.
And you'd
all
see
on
him
their
come
own.
up if it was
This
a
happens
reflection.
several times, over and over. On the second time, a strangely distorted shape manifests behind the glass. Some people have described it as looking like 2 kneeling children. Others have described it as looking like a pile of bodies. There's almost a Rorschach test
weird,
level
man.
interpretation going on with this thing. This clip has gone viral worldwide, with almost everyone chipping in with their theories. Skeptics think it's nothing but a weird shadow, but others think this is a restless Egyptian spirit. What do you think is going on here? Be sure to comment below with
no
your
idea,
thoughts
but
and
that's
feelings.
cool.
Which of these Egyptian creatures intrigues you the most? And would you still brave a visit to the country? Let us know. Also,
I would.
check
I'd
out
love to
our
go to
other
Egypt.
cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.
That's really cool. I'm going to check something out on the hashtag thing. I'll be right back. Okay, anyway, the Star Topic thing, people are thinking it's a hoax. Say, quote unquote, hold on a second, I'll show you. Boink. Okay. Star Topic, you can see the wire holding up the mummy, the dummy, mummy. If he was alone, who was the shadow on his right? Then I actually went back and looked, and you do see a shadow. Because if he was the one holding the camera, if he was the one holding the camera, who's this right here if he was alone? And that's a good topic as well, but I don't see no wire. Unless that shadow is the wire. Which is possible because the way the frame is cropped. I don't know, but that's all up to oh wait, you can't see it because my face cam's in the way. Hold on. Boink. Yeah, see, there's a shadow right there. If he was alone, where would this shadow come from? But again, that's all up to interpretation. Was he alone? Did he just happen to have a tripod and he was the one over here? Or what? I don't know. So, I don't know. I think that's really cool anyway, regardless. Whether that's a real thing or a hoax. Either way, it's really cool. I figured it was a mummy anyway because it's a dried up skeleton. So, it's not possible for skeletons really to move anyway because the reason we move is because of the ligaments in our body. If it's just a skeleton, there's no ligaments or muscles holding it together so it wouldn't walk. Unless it's some sort of spooky specter. But anyway, I don't know. It's all up for determination. It's a really tricky subject to get into. I believe in spirits and the afterlife and ghosts and stuff like that, but I'm also... my beliefs are really, really controversial, so I'm not going to go into it. Maybe later on down the road I'll come into belief system type of blog or something like that, and we'll all discuss it when I have more of a following. and then I can see what you guys really have and stuff like that. But be nice and don't judge others too harshly on what they believe in, whether they do hoax stuff like this or stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. It's all for good fun. It's all for good videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this is tons of fun to do. This video was really cool. I don't really watch a lot of the finest, but it is really cool. So I'm going to end this episode here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi. Peace out.